Now, with that input container defined and with a couple of new styles covered, therefore, we can do something which I mentioned that it would always be a good idea. We can split our application into multiple components. This look here, this input container look, this card look, is probably something we want to use in other parts of the application as well. We might have different items which we want to present in such a card. Consider you're building an online shop where you have each product in such a card on the overview screen. Now, to avoid repeating this style definition over and over again, we can outsource it into a separate component. A component that doesn't really have much logic in it, but which controls the styling of its content. A pure presentational component, therefore. Technically, it still is a regular React component, and hence I'll create a new file here in the components folder and name it card. Name is up to you, but it is this typical card look, so it sounds like a fitting name to me. Now here, as always, import React from React, and then also import the view from React Native here, and then create the card component, a functional component like this, which you in the end export as a default. And obviously, since it's all about presentation here, we'll need the style sheet to create a styles object, because that will be the core thing of this component. It should be there to wrap itself around any content and just apply some general styling. So now I'm going to the start game screen and I'll grab all the styles here of the input container, copy them from there and add them to the card instead. Here I'll add a new card property and use my styles in here. And inside of the card component, I'll have a very simple markup, so to say, very simple JSX code. It's just a view which I return here, which should be wrapped around props children. Props children is that special prop in React, which is basically the content you pass between the opening and closing tags of your custom component. So it can wrap itself around any content, because the only goal of this card component is to apply some style to the surrounding container. And we do this by adding styles card here. Now there's just one thing. There are certain styles in here which probably should not be set from inside of the card. Not every card might have this width or max width, and not every card should center its content. Hence, I'll cut these three items from there and only have the shadow and the padding set up in here. And I want to make this a bit more flexible. Besides the card styles, it would be nice if we could also assign our own styles from outside and maybe even override some of the card styles. We can do this by passing in a new object to the style prop and distributing all the properties, all the key value pairs of our card style here into this new object. This is the spread operator, a modern JavaScript feature which pulls all the key value pairs of an object out of that object and adds it to a new surrounding object. So we copy all the styles defined down there into this new object. And I'm doing this so that I can also add another key value pair here, or another set of key value pairs, where I take all the styles defined in props style. So in the style prop I pass to my own custom component, I take all the key value pairs defined there and merge them into this object. And since I do this second, this will override any key value pair set up in styles card, so that we can override any style set up in there from outside when we use our component. And when we add additional styles outside of the component, it will also merge that in and consider it. And with that, we can also assign our own styles from outside of the card component when we use the card component. And using the card component is something that would make sense as a next step. So let's go to the start game screen and import card from the components folder and there from the card folder, and replace our input container view here with card like this. Just like this, with opening and closing tags. Now again, I want to set my own styles. I want to set my own width, max width, and align items. So I'll keep input container in the style sheet down there, but now get rid of all the other styles in there, all the styles which are now set up in the card, so that we only keep the width and alignment here. And then add this here to card on the style prop, which is accepted or which has an effect, because in the card component, it's that style prop, which I merge with my other styles. So for that style prop, I'll point at styles input container. Now with that, if we save that, I'm getting an error. Object is not a function near React Native style sheet. So in the card.js file, as it points here, something's wrong. Even gives me the line number. It's line 10. That's what this number here means. And yeah, my problem here is that I use style sheet like this. That's wrong. Instead, we have to call stylesheet.create to define our own styles. So that's the right syntax. So it's a syntax error. Not technically a syntax error, but I'm using the stylesheet object incorrectly. So it's an error from my side. The error message helped us with that. And now we have the same look as before, but we have that reusable card, which we can now use in any place where we want to have, well, exactly this look with the shadows and so on.